I've got an incredible clip to share with you today. Monica Long makes a bold statement saying the floodgates are on the verge of bursting wide open. And stick around because there's a hilarious moment you won't want to miss. Randus, who's usually quite skeptical when it comes to XRP, is having a conversation with one of his frequent guests. But this time, the guest drops a surprise. He's actually bullish on XRP. You have to see Ren's reaction. That's absolutely classic. Then we'll cut to a segment from Rattle Pell, who issues a strong warning not to mess this up. It's a different clip from the one I shared last week, the one you all loved. I've also got footage of Scott Bassett speaking before Congress about central bank digital currencies, CBDC. What he says is definitely worth listening to. And later in the video, we'll dig into several other important topics. But let's start right here. Can you feel that? There's a real sense that momentum is building, and this could be the year everything shifts. Just in the last couple of weeks, we saw SAB 121 rolled back, and almost instantly, major CEOs began speaking out. The CEO of Bank of America even said, "We're all in." That's massive. There you go. Mario Bank of America is fully backing crypto. And don't forget what went down back in January at Davos. BlackRock and Goldman Sachs were loud and clear in their support for crypto. That was a major sign that something bigger is unfolding. Here's the reality. A lot of people believe the Biden administration put serious pressure on the crypto industry, making it clear that if you plan to build in the UAWS, you better be ready for legal battles. That kind of atmosphere pushed many players away. They decided the hassle just wasn't worth it. And the truth is, most people aren't even truly bullish yet, largely because access to U.S. markets is still restricted. That's not changing overnight. The first big step is getting regulatory clarity, starting with stablecoin legislation, which is currently being developed. Once that foundation is in place, the focus will shift to broader digital asset regulations. But let's be honest, that probably won't come until 2026. So the real question becomes, will the U.S. miss out on this cycle completely, or will we manage to catch the tail end before it wraps up? It's still too early to say for sure. Either way, I'm genuinely excited to see how it unfolds. Of course, the situation around tariffs adds another layer of complexity, and the speed at which things move forward might hinge on how that gets resolved. I've got some major economic updates dropping soon that dig deep into what's really going on and what might be coming next, so be sure to check that out. But for now, let's switch gears and jump into this hilarious clip from Rand. I couldn't stop laughing, had to share it. There's a shorter 26-second version circulating where he talks about XRP, but trust me, you need the full context to really appreciate it. These moments are rare, and anytime Rand's signature smugness takes a hit, it's worth watching. The conversation starts out, "Simple we buying?" Unsurprisingly, Bitcoin gets the green light. Rand sticks to his usual line. With the Bitcoin ETFs live, he says BTC dominance will continue to rise. His reasoning? Retail investors don't really understand the depth of institutional capital, and those big players aren't interested in Ethereum. It's too complicated, according to him. So the capital floods into Bitcoin instead. That's why he insists on going heavy on BTC. Then comes the twist. He openly says they're short on ETH, calling it a portfolio hedge, and comparing it to BlackBerry, suggesting it's outdated compared to newer Layer 1 platforms. He's full-on bullish on Solana, claiming it's handling 2/3 of all blockchain activity and calling it fundamentally strong even during slower periods. But then comes the real surprise. He actually says Ripple is a solid trade right now. Yep, he literally says, "I tanned, you can see, Rand freeze." That reaction? That pausette's comedy gold. You want to replay it? I did. Rand looked stunned. Probably because he's been so caught up in Solana hype, he can't even recognize a strong setup when it's right in front of him. He's bashed XRP for years. And honestly, that's why I stopped watching his show. So to see someone come on his own platform and flip the XRP narrative was absolutely priceless. I'm telling you, now XRP is heading for a breakout. Now, on to the next segment. Remember, at the core of money is code. And when it comes down to it, there are only two global assets that truly matter. One is technology and the other, crypto. It's not just big, it's rewriting the financial landscape. It's the most explosive asset class in history. Look at Bitcoin. Since 2012, it's returned an average of 130% annual even, with 3 brutal crashes along the way. Ethereum trails just behind at 113%, and Solana, which got started later, is crushing it with a 142% average. These returns are staggering. Sure, the journey is bumpy. That's part of the deal. Volatility is the price of exponential growth. That's why I've always emphasized what I call the "don't mess this up" approach. Managing the volatility of crypto is all about staying steady and not letting go of your assets, even when things get bumpy. The real strength of cryptocurrency isn't just in short-term price jumps, it's in the magic of long-term compounding. Just take a moment to consider this. Since 2012, Bitcoin has surged by an astounding 27.5 million%. That's not just a strong return, that's a historic, almost mythical performance. And honestly, that's why many of us got into crypto in the first place, to take a relatively small amount of money and turn it into something that could truly transform our lives. That vision, that mission, is what keeps us going. And with the right strategies and smart decisions, I genuinely believe we can still make it. There are countless projects we've been watching for years, many of which still have massive room for growth. Now, shifting the conversation a bit, something caught my attention recently. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott made a bold claim that launching a central bank digital currency, CBDC, would be a sign of weakness. But is that really accurate? After all, around 90% of countries globally are either researching or piloting CBDC, including the United States at one point. So, can embracing a digital future actually be seen as a vulnerability? I don't buy that argument. Frankly, I think Secretary Scott doesn't fully grasp the full potential or purpose behind CBDC. During his statement, he said something along the lines of, "We believe digital assets belong in the private sector. A central bank digital currency, in my opinion, is a signal of weakness, not strength." And did you notice? He briefly stumbled and lost his train of thought mid-sentence, almost as if he couldn't fully articulate the reasoning behind that position. He eventually tried to explain it by suggesting that if global central banks are confident in U.S. financial assets, there's no need for a digital dollar. So, in his view, a CBDC would only emerge out of desperation, not forward-thinking policy. When asked directly whether he supports the Fed issuing one, his response was a blunt "no, sir." On a lighter note, I want to give a quick shout-out to Apex. Exchange, a reliable, decentralized exchange that's been operating since 2017. It's powerful, secure, and doesn't require any KYC.